The Deputy Prime Minister has appeared to downplay the severity of the current heat wave, saying we ought to enjoy the sunshine.
Dominic Raab also claimed that people should be resilient to the pressures despite a national emergency being declared.
Obviously, there's some common sense, practical advice that we're talking about. Stay hydrated, stay out of the sun at the hottest times, sun cream and those sorts of things. But look, we ought to enjoy the sunshine, and actually we ought to be resilient enough through some of the pressures it will place.
So do we all need to just sort of be a bit more resilient when the weather heats up like this? Or are we justified in getting a bit hot under the collar? Lots of you are getting in touch about how, you know, you're quite worried about the heat today.
Let's have the debate. We're joined now by businessman Tim Campbell, who says the idea of a sunny day off is ridiculous, that people need to get a grip. And David Davis, founder of a large drinks company, who I think is going to disagree. Is your team in work today?
They're probably all still in bed, I would suspect.
In bed?
So they're
you've
not
given them a
working
day
today.
off?
Yeah, we've had the day off today. So hopefully they're all hydrated but enjoying the day ahead of them.
Why did you choose to do that?
Well, I think initially there was there's two aspects. Initially, it was we've done well as a business. It's been a really hard couple of years with Brexit and everything. So we just thought it'd be a nice gesture. The weather is generally not great up north on the bank holidays. So it was a nice day today. We gave it off. And I think probably more now with what's going on with the health, I think there's that aspect as well. So, I mean...
But you think other employers should be doing the same as you?
I think in terms of... I mean, if you look at... I mean, we're an SME, so I think 61% of businesses in the UK are SMEs, so I think leaders like myself...
Small, medium-sized.
Yeah, small, medium-sized, so they can look at this thing. I don't say it's practical for every company just to have the day off, but I do think they should look at it. You know, I think for us, we actually, to be fair, this morning we had a meeting, we've been reviewing this, and we're actually going to announce now, so hopefully not everyone's in bed, but we're going to give everyone tomorrow off as well.
Oh,
so we're going to
because of the heat wave?
Yeah, I think so, because, you know, whilst we want the team to enjoy the next couple of days, but we want them to be sensible as well, and hopefully they'll come back refreshed and hydrated on Wednesday.
Although, if you were employing people who did essential services in the NHS, or there's firefighters, delivery workers, people are driving the buses.
Yeah.
Not
TV presenters.
Day off, can they?
Well, the thing is, I'm here, I'm actually my day off today, but I think, I mean, one of the things we found seriously is that there's no guidance on this. Yeah. So there's not a set temperature. So I think the word is, you know, from I think it's the 1992 Act, is that you should act reasonably for the benefit and the welfare, comfortable. Yeah. But in terms of actual, you know, we kind of had to create our own rule on this a little bit.
It's interesting because in this country, of course, I think you were asking about this yesterday, is about in classrooms there is a rule, government policy, that it can't go below I think it's 8:16, I think, actually. Yeah. And, you know, in the winter you do get, you know, if the pipes are frozen, schools
I think there
closed.
used to be a rule, and actually now it's become... People
more
making their own decisions.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a really reasonable employer there. If you can, during a heat wave, and this, as Laura keeps telling us, might not be the only time this happens to us, we hit 40 and above, it's sensible. In fact, it's safety first to let your employees have the day off.
I think when you think about modern work environments, air-conditioning environments are probably the better place for people to be, rather than being going out in the park and potentially getting heat stroke, or, as we've seen with some of the health and safety issues with water at the moment, actually maybe work is a great place to be. It's great that we can celebrate success, and I think you've done amazing as a business. I want some of your cider, though. That's what I'd love to have some more of. Yeah. But I think it's really important...
Be careful on a hot day.
Well, you can be sensible. Hopefully you are sensible. But when I'm thinking about heat and temperatures, maybe it's not as hot as you in Blackpool in the Tango. That may not be as hot as temperatures. But it's more so about we should be thinking, can we make sure that we are making people come back to work, particularly after COVID. We want people to work together. What we've done, we've had ice lolly luncheons. We've given people relaxing times. We've encouraged them to be in a work environment rather than being at home and saying you could have the day off. I don't think that's particularly sensible.
Do you think that, Tim, that there's been a slight cultural tide of people expecting to be at home, and that the way we were pre-COVID, we didn't really ever think about working from home as a given, as flexible working was still not something that all employers really embrace. It's a good thing for most people, but do you think on an occasion like this, you know, do you think that some workers might be like, yeah, it's too hot for me, you know, that there's a bit of...
Listen, I think you've got to make really sensible decisions. Health and safety is the number one and most important factor when you're thinking about employment. Our chairman sent a letter to everybody. Tomorrow, we'll be following us and we'll allow everybody to work at home if it's difficult to get into the office. But actually, it should be about coming to work. We've got an employment contract with our employees. We want them to be in a work environment, which is health and safety. In this country, productivity is one of the biggest things, particularly as we come out of COVID now. We need more business to be doing more well. I don't think we should be focusing on the temperature's gone a little bit, have a day off. We should be thinking about how do we make it comfortable and reasonable for people to do what they're supposed to do to come to work.
It feels like we're having an outbreak of reasonableness, consensus and agreement today. What's going on? I mean, you both seem to be essentially agreeing with each other that we should make sensible decisions.
Business people, we do that. I've got shorts on, though. He hasn't wear shorts.
No.
But it's interesting because the GMB union are saying that they want to... I mean, this is a gratuitous moment that Ed is encouraging.
Ed's very happy now. Ed's very happy now.
You can see your shorts. But it is that they want it to be... made policy that you should have 25 degrees and no more in a working environment.
The TUC did say something.
GMB was saying that.
The GMB is saying that. Labour Party, we're going to speak to Lisa and Andy, is saying 30 degrees. Could you accommodate for a policy like that in your industry where you work in your office? You know, if it got over 25 degrees, could you have infrastructure in that, you know, kept it cool in a building?
So we, I mean, as a business, post-COVID, we're doing a lot more working from home. So actually what we've done a lot of is invested in people's workspace outside the office. So I think one of the things we'll look at for next year, and I think that, you know, these sorts of temperatures they're not going away this century. So I think we're going to see more of this. So
you've got to plan ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, you know, we don't mind putting our hand in our pocket, investing in the team. So we'll look at air conditioning units for people at home. So, you know, whatever we need to do. I think the challenge is that there's not been any guidance. So I think that's an opportunity as well. We're kind of creating the rule book ourselves. So
you need some leadership on this.
Yeah, a little bit of direction.
All right, thank you, chaps. Very nice to talk to both of you. Lisa and Andy from the Labour Party's on. They want to create a Minister for Resilience, don't they? Yeah. A Minister of Resilience.
A SAR for resilience.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? The idea that we might need somebody in leadership to tell us how to be more resilient.
Yep.